And so ultimately, it's getting people to see, where are you attached to a story where you continue to be the same character that is unloved. You're
starring in a story, but you're not winning.
Yeah. Something happened, or someone imprinted something on you that made you believe that you were unlovable, and so now you're blocking the flow. So I see two dominant states of being. You have receiving, and then you have repelling. So I get to the origination point. When did you start repelling, and why? And what is that story? How can we collapse it? How can we heal it and shift the energy? And then you open yourself up to agape love.
Peace and riches blessings. I am Michael B. Beckwith, the host of Take Back Your Mind.
Peace and radical blessings to all of you, and welcome to Take Back Your Mind. I am your host, Michael B. Beckwith, the founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center, and every week I get to have the opportunity to have great conversations with individuals who, in their own way, have opened up their heart, taken back their mind, and are becoming a beneficial presence on the planet. And guess what? Today, I have Erin Lyons with me. Welcome to Take Back Your Mind.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, it is our joy. We've researched you. But let me tell you who she is. She's a channel for universal wisdom, a quantum healer, a shaman devoted to awakening. Erin Lyons facilitates powerful time and line collapses that accelerate healing, manifestation, and divine embodiment. Through channel transmissions, multidimensional healing, and planetary grid work, she helps light workers access the quantum field to manifest abundance, love, wealth, intuitive gifts, and purpose. Now this, not through force, but through frequency. This is my girl. This is all my stuff. She's the founder of the Omni Retreats and the Universal Healer Certification. Her deepest passion is serving as a bridge into higher realms of love and oneness. Welcome.
Thank you.
You got all the words here. This is it. Give me your origin story.
Sure.
What happened that you're
now
a shaman?
Born in Detroit, Michigan, originally. And, I've always been a seeker. I started out really young. My mother was Christian Baptist. My father converted to Islam when I was probably about 3 years old. So I found myself going to the mosque with him when I was at his house, and then going to Christian Baptist church with my mom would send us with her sister. And so here I am, I'm 5 years old, and I'm thinking, none of this makes sense. And that's when the inner inquiry began. And I just wanted to know, who am I? Why are we here? And that really was the beginning of a series of events that led to an ultimate spiritual awakening.
And what did those events look like? And what did the awakening feel like?
It's really interesting. I recall, because I just wanted answers, I started out actually looking through the Bible. I'm just looking through scripture and trying to find something that resonated within me, but I felt a presence, the presence of spirit in the text. So those types of things. And then just doing my own research, researching different religions, different schools of thought, different philosophy. And I started cultivating my own understanding that all is one. That began to arise within my being. And then that led me to meditation. And of course, in meditation, I separated my thoughts from my consciousness, and then that just opened up a whole different world. And then fast forward, in my junior year of college, I stumbled into a psychedelic experience that really cracked me open in a way that solidified what was already awakening within my being.
Right.
Yes.
It cleared your perception, and you were able to see more clearly.
And cleared the trauma and all of the things that maybe watered down what spirit was already trying to open my eyes to.
Outstanding. So at some point you were on Wall Street.
Yes.
And so your concept of wealth, I imagine, was different at that time. And so you've navigated from Wall Street to like a whole nother street, a whole another path, a whole nother journey. How did that transition take place?
So interestingly, after having
you were
this,
successful on Wall Street too.
yes,
Yeah.
it was fun. I was successful, and that's what makes the whole transition so interesting. Coming out of a massive spiritual awakening, I didn't know what to do. Do I move to India, shave my head, build an ashram? Do I become, a yogi that lives in the forest? You get that taste of source and your human ego goes, I have no idea how to ground this. And the voice of spirit told me, no, actually go to Wall Street, because at the time I was already pursuing my finance degree, and that had became like one of my goals. And looking back, I understand why. I really needed to master manifestation and be grounded in the real world and learn how to be a co-creator with source. So how I experience that world is much different than what people might expect. Like you hear Wall Street, you think there's pressure to perform. And some of those things were there, but it was about the co-creation for me.
So you learned manifestation.
I learned manifestation. Yes. How do you call in, a multimillionaire client and hold that energy, feel worthy of calling that person into your wealth practice? How do you feel worthy of managing $300 million in assets? And that's what that experience was about for me. And then
that's a lot of energy. You developed capacity to hold more energy.
And I have to add, especially as a woman of color, looking back, I can see why Source wanted me to be in that upper echelon of success and elitism, because I needed to shatter any perception that I was unworthy to be there.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yes.
So then you go from there and you shift more to being more of a modern mystic, So what happened inside of your awareness that allowed you to make that move? I mean, was there inner guidance or feeling? What were the baby steps? How did you move out and then move into your next dimension of life?
As this career was unfolding for me and I was finding success, my spiritual gifts were also strengthening. So hearing the voice of spirit, divine intuition, these types of things. And I wanted to use my voice in a different way. And when you are a licensed professional in that world, you're limited, meaning you can't have your own brand or your own platform, these types of things. So I started to just feel congested. I started to feel like I was trapped in a world and I had a bigger purpose. And so the tower moment happened during 2021 COVID. And so this is where, the whole market is falling apart. I'm finding that I'm losing resonance with my business partners, so my team at the time. And I just don't know what to do with myself. But these gifts are emerging. They're just emerging. And they're becoming the dominant frequency. And I had to honor that. And I just hear the voice of spirit say, it's time for you to use this mastery in a different way, to teach others what you have learned on this path of manifestation, understanding abundance and oneness and joyful co-creation with the universe.
Absolutely. These gifts you're describing, how did they appear? What are some of the gifts?
Yeah. So I'm a channeler, channeling, just very clearly hearing the voice of spirit. So I'm clairaudient. I'm also clairvoyant. So I started to.
Did you know this as a kid, or this has emerged later on?
No, surprisingly, I was not a child that was very clairvoyant. Like I didn't see a lot of things, but I always felt a presence of spirit. So it was a shock for me when these things started happening.
So it wasn't like wasn't like a sudden. It was like a gradual opening.
Sure. Well, I would say there was a sudden shift when I had that psychedelic experience I was talking about.
That opened up something.
And I like to say it was my complete death or ego death, where I was absorbed into pure consciousness. And I just, Erin, the avatar, the personality, no more.
Dissolved,
It's completely dissolved. And coming out of that, I could hear source clearly all the time. Like this inner conversation happening.
Yes.
Feeling divine presence,
Yes.
angelic presence.
Yes.
So it was a switch.
Mm-hmm.
It was a switch. But while I was working on Wall Street, it was expanding. It kept expanding to the point where I couldn't contain it. I also have a gift of light language.
Like Palladians?
Yes. Working with, I like to see it as frequency language.
Yeah.
Now, that was one of the things that surprised me.
Uh-huh.
That just came out, and I go, well, what do we do with this?
That's the ancient old talking in tongues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a couple of friends that do that very proficiently as well.
That really, so with that gift in particular, I go, okay, now we got to do something with this.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, Spirit just went, hey, you're meant to awaken other beings
Yes.
to the perfect love
Yes.
that you have experienced.
Yes.
And that became my truth and my purpose. And so I knew I had to walk away from Wall Street and do this work full time.
You were in a field in which people define security as money.
Mm-hmm.
And so you walked away from that. How do you define abundance now?
I see abundance in two ways. When I was in that reality, abundance to me, it wasn't about the amount of money that I made or even the amount of money that I managed. It was about the feeling of co-creatorship, the fun in I have an idea, I have a vision, and I'm going to use my frequency and my thoughts to create that reality. That's how I experience my abundance, better than any money to me. The way that I experience abundance now, it's the same in my current business. However, I see abundance as the choice and the ability to shift between infinite quantum realities. It's not necessarily that the condition of a particular reality is the abundance. It's that I get to say, I have a preference. And that infinite preference is true abundance.
You're using the word quantum. I mean, I love using the word quantum, this buzzing field of infinite possibilities. Break it down for us a little bit for anyone who doesn't quite understand our language here.
I see the quantum field as infinite parallel frames of existence that coexist simultaneously.
Right.
The example I love to use is that of a radio station. If I tune into a particular station or that frequency, I'm going to hear a certain maybe genre of music. If I switch the station, I'm going to hear a different genre of music, but it also doesn't mean that the station I was just listening to is not still playing whatever it's playing. And so there's this sort of this interconnectedness across time and space.
Right. So it's a pulsating, rhythmic, energetic field that contains infinite potential, infinite possibility all at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's actually the heart mind of God.
Yes.
So in the scientific language, we call it the quantum field. If we want to go spiritual, we would call it like total consciousness. So you're catching in the quantum field wisdom, guidance, and direction in a language and in a way that you can teach, act upon, and express. Okay. Did you have to unlearn anything as you moved from the securities field into security?
I really had this. The world of Wall Street is so fast-paced and results-oriented.
Yeah.
And I can remember feeling this anxiety when I first started my spiritual practice in business whenever I wasn't doing something. And that was something I had to really rewire within my neural pathways because Source ultimately taught me that you could sit here and do nothing but still be a vibrational match to everything.
Yes.
And so I went from a doer to a beer.
Yeah.
And I can now relax, have a day off, and not have all this guilt or anxiety or shame or feeling like I got to utilize every single second of my time to create something. And that's a part of the co-creatorship to me, is knowing when Source is doing their part. And when it's time to do my part, I will experience that as the energetic momentum that shows up to move me into action.
Right.
I had to unlearn that. And I also learned that it was deeply built into my ancestral genetic makeup to be sort of in a program to always be working or working hard.
Kind of survival issue.
Yes, it is
that you had
survival.
to outgrow.
Yes.
So you moved more from achievement, as you like, think you like to talk about, the achievement to allowing.
Yes.
That space there.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Absolutely.
So at this point, you identify as a shaman.
Yes.
And you identify as an individual that obviously has access to multi-dimensions. You channel. Do clients come to you?
Absolutely.
And you do that as well. So you're doing workshops. Clientele comes and works with you.
Yes.
And you're able to, like, perhaps give a reading and assist them in making proper decisions and things like that.
Yes.
Now, as that was developing for you, did it scare you at all? Was it natural? Was it like, wow, I got these gifts and I don't know what to do with them? I know when I first woke up years ago, I was a weirdo, back in the day, because a lot of what we're talking about now, that was woo-woo. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Now we have the language. We have the quantum field, quantum mechanics. We have epigenetics. We have evolutionary biology. 40 years ago, we didn't have that.
Absolutely.
So this is a good time for you to be alive. But you're articulating these principles very well. I'm kind of very enthusiastic inside listening to you speak.
It's exciting for me because, you're really hitting at something important. Even when I awakened 10 years ago, it was weird to be the girl talking about crystals,
right,
or the girl who was talking about perhaps there's extraterrestrial life out there, and these types of things. And
we know that's not a perhaps.
I was the black sheep in my family, or the outcast in my social group, in a sense that I was just the different one.
Right.
And so now to see that there's a mass awakening happening, and we have the tools to explain it from a quantum reality level, it's so powerful.
Right.
It's powerful.
Now, how would you assist somebody now who's struggling financially? What would you offer them? Sure.
So whether it's finances, love, whatever people want to create, it's really all the same thing, which is, when I think about this concept of allowing, it's allowing in love. You are unconditionally loved by the Creator, and this is why the Creator wants to support you in culminating the highest vision for yourself.
That's right.
That you can fathom, that you have selected, that you have chosen. When you feel worthy of that co-creation, you just allow it to happen.
Right.
And the allowing is, I'm going to allow myself to receive the divine inspiration that shifts me into the necessary movement, but I'm also going to allow myself to receive the support that's happening in the unseen, non-physical realms as well. So this is sort of also, I like to see this as the masculine and the feminine energy working together.
This is powerful. Wow. And so you work with your husband?
Yes, he works with me as well.
Does he have these gifts as well?
He actually does.
And when you guys met, did you know that you both had these gifts, or how did this develop?
We met on a dating app, surprisingly. We were both new to San Diego. And so there's like a whole story into how I got to San Diego. Maybe we'll get into it. And I'm on this app and I'm thinking, I want to be as authentic and raw as possible. So in my little bio, I go, psychic channeler, healer. Like, basically, I wanted to repel anybody who wasn't going to be understanding of that. And so we match, and he goes, he's like, oh, so you have spiritual gifts. And I go, yes. Are you okay with that? And he goes, I actually do too. And then we start bonding over the channeling and the light language and all the things.
And he does light language as well?
He does, yes.
You guys just met. You probably knew each other before.
Oh, for sure. For sure. For sure.
And so in terms of resilience, where people are seeking to be resilient now during times when there's a flux in the world, how do you move them into resilience around their finances, or whatever else that seems to be chaotic? What is your main teaching message?
So when people come to me, I like to identify where is the origination point that you stopped receiving love from source, because that is the thread that continues to manifest in different forms, whether it's attracting the wrong people, or not being able to hold wealth, or not be able to move up the ladder at work. And so, sometimes that can be a multidimensional thread, meaning it's not just coming from this lifetime, and that's where the shamanism comes in and that type of thing. And so ultimately it's getting people to see where are you attached to a story
Mm-hmm.
where you continue to be the same character that is unloved?
Mm-hmm.
You're
You're starring in a story, but you're not winning.
Yeah. Something happened, or someone imprinted something on you that made you believe that you were unlovable, and so now you're blocking the flow. So I see two dominant states of being. You have receiving and then you have repelling.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to the origination point. When did you start repelling and why?
Mm-hmm.
And what is that story? How can we collapse it? How can we heal it and
Mm-hmm.
shift the energy?
Mm-hmm.
And then you open yourself up to
Right.
agape love.
Now, that's beautiful. When you say you collapse it,
Mm-hmm.
and you find this point,
Yes.
and then you identify this point,
Yes.
and then you collapse it.
Yes.
And so break that down.
It's
I know what you mean.
yes,
Yeah.
sure. It's looking at the limiting belief
Mhm.
that was born out of an illusion,
Uh-huh. The imprint.
the imprint.
Mhm.
And when I'm talking about the illusion, I'm talking about the first time you felt separation from
Mhm.
Creator,
Mhm.
because that's when you started believing in untruth.
Right.
And to reconcile that untruth, we then begin implanting and installing new beliefs. So if
Mhm.
it's money, right, people might believe, well, money is bad.
Right.
Something I would have them do is I would say, well, look at all of the people. I want you to make a list of 10 people who are doing extraordinary things with their money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start shifting this idea
Yeah.
that money is only bad.
Right.
Well, that must be an untruth because people are doing
Or that
positive
bad people
things.
have money.
Or they're bad people,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So then we say, hey, make a list of 10 people who are good people in your life that have a little bit of money.
Right.
And it starts shifting that story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful. So that's the collapse part.
Yes, that's the timeline collapse.
Uh-huh. I like that. And so after time collapse, what's next?
Getting clear.
Mhm.
You know, it's really surprising how many people miss, I would call this step one in manifestation, which is declare your desire.
Right.
Because
You got to be clear on it.
desire is divine direction.
Mhm.
This desire is emerging in your soul because your soul is telling you, if you pursue this, the unfolding of this will be so juicy, so amazing, so fulfilling. And so many people, they won't just say it. This is what I want. You'd be surprised. They
They're
experience
afraid.
shame.
Right.
And so usually I pull it out of them like, what do you want? Just say it. No, don't fluff it. Don't talk about what you don't want.
Right, right.
What do you want? And they're like, I just want, insert the thing.
Yeah.
And I go, great.
Mhm.
Now we can create supporting beliefs
Mm-hmm.
that help you actualize that reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
Right. This is beautiful. Hey, if you're just tuning in, this is Erin Lyons. And she had a tremendous awakening. She made herself available to the gifts that were innate within her. And now she's fully expressing these gifts with retreats with her husband. Her husband also has gifts. And this is quite powerful. I love it. I love it. Okay, so gifts started emerging. So then did you couple these emerging gifts with like some course of study that allowed you to create but to embrace the language of what was happening to you, for you, through you?
Sure. Spirit really asked me to focus on women, women who were also coming into spiritual gifts, but didn't have a roadmap or even understand how to translate that into real client transformation. And so what was born was a program that I run called Priestess Portal. And so women will come in for 4 months and this sort of framework was born in terms of how to develop your intuition, how to trust in this connection, and ultimately how to serve a community or clients with various techniques that I've channeled.
So you developed this out of nothing.
Yes.
Or out of everything.
Both.
So when you're talking about source, you're talking about this presence that's never in absence that not only is coming through you, but you're aware that it is your very life itself. You can call it what? The super soul self, the higher self.
Consciousness, spirit.
This is it.
Yes.
Yeah, because you articulate it so wonderfully and with such confidence. You remind me of myself to a degree because you're articulating this so young.
Yes.
I mean, in terms of chronological age. You're not a young spirit. Yeah. And so today, this is all unfolding. You have this retreat. What's next on your horizon?
Well, right now we do have a powerful retreat coming up in Mount Shasta. Not sure if you've been there, but it is going to be.
One of my partners owns a lot of property up there.
Oh, wow.
He wants me to come buy some of the property. They're developing. They have all the water. They have, so I'm about to go up there.
Okay. Yeah, we're doing this 5-day retreat that's coming up. And then my Priestess Portal is going to open up soon again. So we run it in classes and cohorts. But also courses are always running and available that people can tune into if they want to.
Between you and your husband?
Well, we sort of have our separate things, and then we do some things together, like this retreat coming up. But if people want to work on their abundance, I have a course called Quantum Money Makeover. So you go super quantum, those types of things. Yes.
When you say go super quantum, you're taking them into the field of everything.
The void.
The void.
You are going to unravel, I like to call it. Yes.
Unravel all the beliefs that are keeping you down, and then replacing that with the real belief that abundance is everywhere, and you can fulfill that by yourself.
Yes, and in Mount Shasta, this is the Omni Galactic Retreat. So this is where
I'm loving
Source meets the multidimensional field of existence.
Oh my God.
And we're getting into some Stargate technology and things. So now there's going to be a virtual conference version of that for those who will not be able to make it to the retreat because we sold out already.
Oh, that's great. How many people are coming?
75 people.
That's a good number.
Yes.
Good number. Now, have you had any moments where you were shocked by, you had a tremendous inner breakthrough and then it showed up in 3D, but it happened so rapidly? Like some people would call it a miracle.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, share some of those things.
I want to talk about my first experience in Mount Shasta.
Okay.
At the time, I was in a 3.5-ish relationship, almost 4-year relationship, and we were moving towards marriage. And I'm running a retreat in Mount Shasta, and it's so funny because it was their graduation retreat from the Priestess Portal, but it ended up being a graduation a soul level graduation retreat for me because I'm just unraveling and having so many divine realizations. And Source tells me when you get home, you have to end your relationship and move to San Diego.
Just that clear.
Clear.
And is it exactly those words?
Clear. There were
But you had no argument with this person. There was nothing wrong with this person.
No.
It was just over.
It was just over. And the realizations that were coming to me, it was more so of a frequency, like a frequency that I could feel. And I go, you know what? This is what my life should feel like.
I know that.
And then the messaging to support, okay, here are the grounded steps. You're going to uncouple, and then you're going to move to San Diego. So I get home.
But you didn't have any thought about moving to San Diego.
I had never even been to San Diego.
And where were you living at this time?
New York City.
You were in New York.
Yes.
You go to Mount Shasta.
Yes.
You have this inner revelation.
Yes.
That it's time. If you want this life, you have to uncouple and move to San Diego.
Yes.
And you followed.
And this is what I want to call radical surrender. Because I had different moments in my life that really required me to move forward without the logical understanding.
I understand.
So I get home, I'm back in New York, and I have never felt energy move like this in my life. I'm packing, and I'm packing like a woman who's on the run. What is going on? I'm like, I have to do this now?
After you.
And I'm hearing, it has to be now. It has to be now. It has to be now. So I get back home. Remind you, my partner hasn't seen me in 2 weeks because I had been away traveling.
Oh, he wasn't at the retreat with you?
No. So he's like, this is like it's coming out of nowhere. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I've got to end things. The next week, I moved to San Diego.
Wait a minute. Let's go back just a second. He has no idea this is even happening. You come back and break this down to him. Is he sad? Is he upset?
Oh, yeah. He was devastated, but there was so much in our relationship that was being suppressed, more so on his end. And this was sort of like the boiling to the surface.
I see.
Pretty much everything that I needed from him over the 3.5 years, he wanted to give it in this one moment.
In one moment,
But at that point, my soul decided I'm off to another timeline, right? Like I've expanded as much as I can from this, and you deserve to grow at your own pace.
Right.
You know, so our souls made that decision. But what I'm getting at is I follow through. I get to San Diego and I meet my now husband.
How soon
4 weeks later, 4 to 6 weeks later.
So you move a month to 6 weeks later, you meet him on the dating app.
Yes.
What were you doing in those 4 to 6 weeks?
You know, I really had this feeling like someone was getting ready to come into my life, but I was trying to, I'm like, whoa,
Wait a minute. I just broke up with somebody.
This is moving too fast. Like in my mind, I thought, oh, this is great. I'll be single and I'll just have fun. And so I was actually dating a little bit. It was a new city. I did have like, 2 friends who were relatively close. And I just wanted to be in that, my feminine freedom. But Spirit had other plans for me. And so nonetheless, I meet this person. And of course, it just accelerates so fast. Within a month, he's moving in. And then within 5 months, we're pregnant and just a whole thing.
And now you're married.
And now we're married, yes. Yes.
So for him, where was he living before? Was he living in San Diego too?
Oh, there's a story here.
Or did he get moved to San Diego
here
as well?
I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to condense it. But when I met him, he was in the process of healing from a near-death experience. You know what? Today is the anniversary of his near-death experience. He was in an Airbnb in Tijuana that had carbon monoxide.
Oh, wow.
And so he lit an incense. It blew up. And 3rd-degree burns all over. And he recalls leaving his body and being in some void for a full day. Came out of that and then was obviously rushed to the hospital, these different things. But when I met him, I was the first person that he met, like outside of just being around family, since that occurred. Yeah.
And on a dating app.
On a dating app. So I didn't even, we're talking on the phone and I'm going, he's talking about this event and in my mind it's not registering how serious it was. Our first date, we go to Balboa Park. I see him and I go, he's still bandaged up a little bit. And I go, okay.
This was serious.
This was because he kept calling it like an explosion or I was in an explosion. And I go, okay, this was a real thing. But bringing this all full circle, I think he had to surrender to feel worthy of, he's like, I just wanted some connection, even if it was a friendship.
Right.
And I mean, really, had I not gone to San Diego at the specific time that I got there, he was actually set to move back he's from St. Louis.
Okay.
Him and his mom were going to go back to St. Louis to just have family support. He was at the San Diego USCD, I think it is, the San Diego Hospital. That's where he was. So you see how Spirit...
Yeah. If you hadn't followed through, you would have missed him at that time.
Yes. We would have missed each other. So interesting.
So he didn't live in San Diego.
He didn't live in San Diego. So absolute divine surrender has been one of the things that is, we talk about timeline collapsing. That I believe that collapsed 4 years off of my life because I would have probably still played out these dynamics with my ex-partner where I wasn't totally fulfilled.
Right.
And it would have took time, but trusting the guidance and not trying to resist it or make sense of it, it led me to a more fulfilling timeline. And that's what I try to teach folks to do.
I love it. I love it. So now you have an 8-month-old baby.
I do.
What's the baby's name?
His name is 7, like the number.
7?
Yes.
And why 7? I mean, spelled 7?
Spelled 7 like the number. 7 just became sort of a lucky number for me when I moved to San Diego. 7's everywhere. My apartment number at the time was 502, so 7. The area code is 619. The address of the building was 610. There were just so many 7s.
7 was one of my great numbers.
Yes.
Too. I love that.
So we went with 7.
My God, this is great. It's something else I wanted to ask you. It's so much.
So much is arising.
You're pouring a lot in here. Do you have a book out yet?
Not yet, but I'm in the process of writing a book, Radical Receiving. Yes.
There's a lot here. So you identify as shaman.
Yes.
Because, I know what I was going to say. I'm listening to your language. It's very similar to some of the work that I do. So I'll teach people how to go into the field of infinite possibilities and to choose the timeline they want to live in.
Yes.
And to actually go into that frequency right before they go to sleep and choose it. And then when they wake up in the morning, wake up in that timeline. And then to walk in that timeline. And so then everything gets adjusted according to the vibration of the timeline, rather than deal with the physical conditions that are just the condensation of thoughts and beliefs that have condensed themselves into the world of appearances. Go to the timeline you want to live in and live there. Choose it.
Choose it.
But you have to choose it. You have to expand your awareness and choose it. And then everything will coalesce around that, which is what you followed. You followed the guidance, and that's what happened. Your timeline.
Reality had to bend around the absolute surrender and declaration.
Right.
Because once the decision in my consciousness was made, the entire universe had to rearrange itself to support that new timeline.
Right. And oftentimes people don't understand that because they're trying to change something out here. But the out here is going to respond to your inner dynamic, inner feeling, inner declaration, unconscious thought, all of that. So you're assisting people to actually shift that inner perception.
Yes. Yes.
So that life changes. Well, the life experience changes.
Yes.
It's powerful. What's your husband's name?
Adewale. Wale for short.
Adewale, and you call him Wale?
Yes. He's 50% Nigerian. His father's Nigerian. So yes.
Okay. All right. So does he come from a shamanistic family in Nigeria?
Not to his knowledge, but he has a profound ability to work in the Akashic records. So he's extremely clairvoyant and sees all types of beings all the time. So you can imagine what our home life is like.
Your kid is going to be
between me and him.
Your kid's going to be
channeling
like
all day.
Disneyland at your house.
Spiritual Disneyland, yes. I want to talk about, you said something really powerful about choosing your timeline before you wake up.
Yeah.
And I teach a similar process, which is as soon as you wake up, choose the highest possible thought, feeling, or vibration.
Absolutely.
And that activates the energy you will experience in that day.
Yes.
And the idea is that there's this incremental expansion that raises your vibrational set point, which is like the energy that you typically embody.
We use the same language. I'm listening to it and say, who is this person?
Yeah. And so, this is what it is. I just want people to have one good day. You have one good day. It turns into one good week.
Right.
Then you got a good month.
Right.
Then you look up and you go, this was the best year of my life.
Absolutely.
And if you could just, as soon as you wake up, choose the highest, most wonderful thought you can think up.
Yeah.
And it will create this momentum throughout the rest of your day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll have people choose the timeline they want to live in, go to sleep in it.
Yes.
And then wake up and choose to be in it. Then I invite them to be in a deep state of thankfulness.
Yes.
Just be grateful you're alive. Just high frequency gratitude. Then surrender to life. Whatever name you want to call it. Surrender to life. And then I invite people to ask for all the power necessary to handle all the assignments that come into your field that day.
Sure.
So that you're pulling in all of this power to handle everything. Highest frequency always wins.
Always.
Frequency, I always teach that frequency is your currency. That's how you spend your frequency. Yeah, you got it.
You got it too.
You got it. This is Erin Lyons. I'm really having a great time with her. I think you can tell. Yeah. Anyway, let me see, because we had some other questions, but I think we got it. We got so much. What is bubbling up in you right now that you want to share with this powerful audience?
Some people may be listening to this right now and thinking it's not that easy.
Okay.
Guys, it's not that easy. I can't wake up and just choose a thought or a gratitude or a feeling because I'm faced with these very real circumstances and conditions and family dynamics and relationship dynamics. How do I choose that? And what I want to say is that your desire to experience peace has to become more dominant than your ego's attachment to chaos.
Yes.
You have to continuously
Preach that.
will this. You have to choose it in every moment, in every second. You have to consciously choose it. I choose alignment. I choose peace. I see this thing. It's real. I see it. I've created it. I've manifested. But I'm choosing to believe that there's an alternate parallel reality in the quantum field that's just waiting for me to come into a resonant frequency. And then the universe is going to scan that vibration and start rearranging itself for me. That's it.
Yeah. You just described in the quantum language, the law of attraction, the law of manifestation,
Yes.
the law of outpicturing, the invisible becoming visible,
Yes.
with the deep imprinting, feeling tone. This is great. This is fantastic. I wish I had an audience here.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Could we take some questions?
That would be wonderful.
I think something's going to happen. I think we're going to do something.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something happening.
Something's happening in the field.
Yeah,
right?
I can.
We're collapsing a timeline in real time.
Something's feeling. Something. I can feel it happening. It's like, but, when you met Lee out there,
Yeah.
she came in and she said, "She's lovely."
Oh,
She said
how
she said,
sweet.
she's lovely inside.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I said, I think she's a shaman. And I said, I don't remember. I don't have the memory of bringing you in, but I don't do anything accidental.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I came out and saw. I said, oh wow, yeah.
Beautiful.
You're carrying the vibration and the frequency.
Thank you.
So let's go over this. You're working on Wall Street. This is a joy to you. It's not encumbering. You're learning how to carry big energy. You're breaking any sense of barriers as a woman of color in that field.
Yes.
You have a spiritual awakening. You have a psychedelic experience as well that clears your perceptual windows so that you can see more clearly. At some point, you're invited to move into what you're doing now,
Yes.
out of that particular field.
Yes.
In that same dynamic, at some point in your life, you are invited to uncouple, leave that relationship and move to San Diego, a place you've never lived before.
Yes. Never lived.
4-6 weeks later, you meet your present husband. You got an 8-month-old baby named Seven in spiritual Disneyland with 2 individuals who are living in multidimensional realities,
Yes.
collapsing timelines to assist people for freedom, not be domesticated, not just stuck in the simulation of time and space, but to bring the eternal into time and space. So you are this is just coming to me right now. You are a spiritual Harriet Tubman, breaking freedom, breaking people free from being slaves to a timeline of limitation, lack, scarcity, not enoughness, self-doubt, and worry and fear. You're saying, "Come on, I'm
Freedom
setting
train.
freedom train. Let's
Let's
go.
go.
We
Let's
got the
go."
Underground Railroad,
Yes.
but it's not underground anymore. It's out in the open. You can meet me in Mount Shasta.
Yes.
You can meet me in San Diego.
Yes.
Meet me online. We're breaking people free, baby.
That's
Did
what
I
it's all
did I
about.
sum that up properly?
Nailed it. Nailed it. Phenomenal. Perfect vibration.
Outstanding. Well, this has been fantastic. Tell these individuals where they can be in contact with you and how.
You can find me at erinlyonsofficial.com or Erin Lyons Official on Instagram.
Official.
Official.
Erin Lyons Official.
Erin Lyons Official. And that's Lyons with a Y, Lyons. And then you can also find my YouTube channel at Erin Lyons TV. Yes.
Anything emerging that, let's say you're driving home or you're going back to meet your husband and your mind says, oh, I should have said that. Is anything like that bubbling up?
Yeah. I want to leave folks with this. Life is fun. And I want to leave it with that because in this dualistic realm, we experience love and joy and pain and grief and all of it. But when your soul leaves this encasement and you look at the whole thing, there's only going to be joy for the soul.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though there was pain, the soul is going to go, what a ride and what a dream.
It was an e-ride.
You can tap into that now.
Yeah.
Why wait?
Why wait?
Life is fun.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's you heard her. She's saying the absolute truth. I'll tell people all the time, when you pass over, unconditional love and judgment can't exist in the same spot. You're not going to have any judgment. You're just going to look and see what you did, the choices you made, how you made people feel, and grow from there.
Absolutely.
Powerful. This is Erin Lyons. You'll see her again. Check her out. She's pre-approved. This is Michael Beckwith. Take back your mind. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. I truly hope that you are enjoying Take Back Your Mind podcast. The Take Back Your Mind podcast is sponsored primarily by the Agape International Spiritual Center. In other words, everything that you see in terms of the staff that puts this together, the editing, the equipment, all of this is sponsored by our Agape International Spiritual Center. So if you are enjoying the podcast, I'm inviting you to support the sponsor. Support Agape. Simply go to agapelive.com and make a donation. And say in the donation that you are supporting the podcast. It allows us to keep broadcasting. It allows us to keep putting these magnificent moments together with these wonderful people that I get to interview. We keep having the possibility of updating the equipment that's necessary and providing the wonderful content that many of you are writing in and saying, I really love the podcast. Support the podcast. Support the sponsor. Agape International Spiritual Center. agapelive.com. You can also text to donate. You can text the word GIVE to 424-321-6243 and put podcast so that we know that you're really supporting this wonderful podcast. Our secondary sponsor is Adaptozen, Adaptozen. This is my superfood greens. It's nutritionally dense because I teach spirit, mind, and body. We want our body temples to be healthy. So one of the products is my superfood greens. You can go to NutraRise.com. Those three little lines you see, you hit those three little lines and you'll see Adaptozen. There's two products, my superfood greens and a product called Elevate, which are organic mushrooms for your health. You can put both in your smoothies so that you have main ingredients for the health of your body temple. These are our sponsors. Primary sponsor, Agape International Spiritual Center. Secondary sponsor, Adaptozen. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be wise. Circulate and share. Peace and blessings.
Radical blessings. We're coming to one of the most important moments in the Take Back Your Mind podcast, and that's practice. People sometimes ask me about the beginning and advanced teachings. Beginning teachings are the theory, the understanding, the mechanics of spiritual law and how to use it, things of that particular nature. Advanced is simply practice. Whenever you're practicing a spiritual technology, you're now in the advanced teaching. So this theory is the beginning, practice is the advanced. So whenever we stop to meditate, we stop to do the life visioning process. We stop to do an affirmative prayer, declaration and decree of the life we're ordained to live and to call it forward. That makes you a practitioner. You're now practicing. So this is why this part of the Take Back Your Mind podcast is extremely important, because we've had conversation with people and things of that particular nature. But now this is our time, your time, to just stop and practice. As I said many, many, many years ago, don't just do something, sit there. And so don't just do something right now. Let's sit together and practice. Close your outer eyes. Tap at the space between the eyebrows. Just tap. Say to yourself or out loud, I am willing to see without my physical eyes. I am willing to see without my physical eyes. I am willing to see without my physical eyes. Now, we're not harming the physical eye. We're just saying that we have sight beyond the physical eyes. Tap at the top of your head and say, I am willing to realize my oneness with the all. I am willing to realize my oneness with the presence of God. I'm willing to realize my unity with the quantum field of love and beauty and intelligence. Take your hands on your lap, face them upward as a sign of receptivity, thumb and forefinger touching. Let's take a deep inhalation. Release. Once again. Release. Once again, deep inhalation. A little bit more air in. Sustain it. Feel in this moment, as you are sustaining this breath, the feeling tone of all of your needs being met right now. You're so grateful that all needs are met. Release. Your nervous system is now acclimating to the feeling tone that all of your needs are met. We sit in this meditation with the feeling of abundance, harmonizing prosperity, pure joy, bliss, and ecstasy. You can feel these qualities now, even before anything changes in the so-called external world. Sit in the feeling tone of abundance, the feeling tone of all needs met, pure joy, bliss, and ecstasy. Just sit in it. Pay attention to it. Feel it. Seeing with the inner eye and feeling at one with the entire quantum field. You're consciously aware of the feeling tone that all of your needs are met. So much joy. The feeling tone of abundance, harmonizing prosperity, joy, bliss, and ecstasy. Not drawing it from the external world, but from the depth of your own being. Your very own nervous system is acclimating to this feeling tone. And in this deep feeling tone of connectedness to the all, the word is spoken for every being tuning in at this precise moment, whenever and wherever this takes place. And the word is spoken with the full awareness that something wonderful is happening, This is the tonal quality that we're carrying. Something wonderful is happening in our life. This feeling breaks down the boundaries and barriers, the obstructions, the vibrational hindrances, to the wonder and awe that's taking over our life right now. All of our needs are met. Everything is working together for our good. We declare, I declare. We decree, I decree that this is so now. And so it is. Amen. And so it is. Have a beautiful and wonderful day. You've practiced the art and science of meditation. Continue to allow the aroma of this feeling tone to carry you through your day and through your evening, even as you go to sleep. Dynamic blessings.
Your time is very valuable, so I want to thank you for lending us your ear and participating in taking back your mind. If you want to submit a question for the question of the week, please submit it to podcast@michaelbeckwith.com. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, please submit a review and let us know your thoughts. Stay on top of current episodes by subscribing to the podcast so that you'll receive alerts and not miss one single episode. And feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and family. And until we meet again, take back your mind and you will take back your life. Peace and blessings.